What would you say if I told you a military aircraft exists that was used incorrectly for most of its time in war?
What? That's crazy talk.
And that's a normal reaction. But I assure you, that aircraft exists.
So, what about it makes it so paradoxical, as you may say?
The fact that for the longest time, this aircraft was missing one of the most important features a fighter craft needs. A gun.
No, not the gun.
Yes, the gun.
But the gun allows the plane to shoot things. You know, pew 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 pew. So, what is this aircraft? What is its name?
It's the F-4 Phantom. The F-4 Phantom is an aircraft developed by the McDonnell Douglas Aircraft Company, and it first entered military service in 1960. It can carry more than 18,000 pounds of weapons underneath its fuselage and wings. These weapons include air-to-air missiles, both heat-seeking and radar-guided, air-to-ground missiles, conventional bombs, and napalm bombs. The Phantom is a very capable fighter with lots of options. It was used heavily during the Vietnam War. Its wingspan is 38 feet long, height is 16 feet. It can carry around 1,994 gallons of fuel, and its max speed is 1,473 miles per hour, or Mach 2.23. The craft filled all kinds of roles, from ground support, where it would drop bombs on locations called out to them by the ground troops, air-to-air combat, where it would face off against MiG-17s, MiG-19s, and 21s in the sky above Vietnam, bombing raids, where they would bomb the Vietnamese railway system and other vital infrastructure that keeps a war machine running, and bomber escort, which involved them protecting bombers from the MiG-21s, which was one of the bombers' worst nightmares. And every branch of the military had their own version, but it had to do all this without one certain thing.
It all had to do that without a gun. We get it. But why was that even an issue? You're describing something that has multiple uses.
Here's the reason why that's important. Yes, the Phantom was an excellent all-around fighter craft with a top speed of twice the speed of sound. Yes, it was the most capable fighter for many years until it was replaced by the F-15, but in certain areas it struggled heavily. The gun being the largest of those issues. Without the gun, it could only engage with its missiles, which were a brand new technology and unreliable in Vietnam's humid climate. It also presented a challenge to the pilots, because if they got too close to the enemy fighters, they wouldn't be able to shoot them down.
So a gun would have made air combat easier for them?
Yes, it absolutely would. The Phantom was originally designed to be an interceptor and attack enemy bombers at high altitudes, which is why it has all the missiles, 2 engines, and no gun. It was supposed to attack from a distance and at high altitudes before jetting away. Later in the war, they attempted to fix the problem by attaching a gun pod to the bottom of the craft, but guess what the problem with that was?
I guess it would fall off, right?
No. It was hard to aim, and it was also unreliable. In order to properly aim with the gun pod attached, the pilots had to pull so much lead that their target nearly disappears underneath the nose of the craft.
So, let me guess. It operated by utilizing the flowing air underneath the aircraft, and sometimes it wouldn't work properly. I guess I got it right. Hooray!
The Phantom was originally designed for the Navy, which meant that the other branches of the military were hesitant to adopt the fighter. But as its full capabilities were shown, they were quick to change their tunes. Except the Navy itself. It insisted on a certain feature being in the craft.
Confetti cannons? Oh, well, never mind me then.
They insisted on having a gun, which was the last piece in making one of the best fighters of its time.
So, what I hear you saying is, if all models of the Phantom had guns, it would have been better off.
Yes, it would have. But don't forget, an aircraft is more than the sum of its parts. Sure, the fact that most models did not have a gun bugs me in just the right way to be annoying. The fact that it was so fast, so capable, and so versatile in every other area makes it one of the best fighters, if not the best of its time. In fact, there are still some Phantoms in service in militaries around the world to this day.
That's surprising.
It shows how capable the F-4 Phantom truly was. Its design stood the test of time for the longest time, until the F-15 came along as its successor. Thank you for watching today's episode of Ace. I know this is only the 3rd episode and it's been forever since I made one, but here it is finally. I hope you all enjoyed this episode and will decide to subscribe. I also want to thank Mr. Shrigis for helping make today's episode a reality. If you are already subscribed to me, you should check him out. Or just check him out. He just released a theory video about an infinity-sided die, and it is one of his best videos to date. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I am F-22 Hunter, and this has been Ace. Please be sure to like the video and come back for our next episode where we near the upper limits of Earth's atmosphere.
Pew 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 pew.